Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this press point following the meeting of the Palestine Donor Group. So we have the honor of having with us today Commissioner for the Mediterranean, Dubravka, Šuica, and the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, Mohammad, Mustafa. So they will give now some remarks on the meeting, and then we'll move to your questions. So for your information, we do have interpretation in English, French, and Arabic. So without further ado, I will now give the floor to Commissioner Šuica. You can go ahead.
Yes.
You can go.
I can go. Good evening again, dear Prime Minister Mustafa, dear all. As you know, the European Union has been and remains a strong partner of the Palestinian people, politically and financially. Since 1994, we have provided almost 30 billion euro in assistance. This year, as you already know, we adopted a comprehensive 3-year program worth 1.6 billion euro. Our financial support is linked to the Palestinian Authority reform agenda, which, of course, they committed to implement. We see these reforms as a prerequisite for a viable two-state solution, which is our ultimate goal. Today marked a very important moment. The inaugural meeting of the Palestine Donor Group, which is still ongoing, a platform bringing together key international partners to support a reformed and well-functioning Palestinian Authority. Our aim is to strengthen governance, build a more resilient economy, stabilize finances, improve services for the population, and create conditions for future effective governance across all territories. Gaza's recovery was also a central part of our discussions. The European Union firmly believes that Palestinians must have a real and decisive role in shaping their own future, including governance across the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza. The donor group exists to support and monitor implementation of the reform agenda, ensuring accountability and progress. This meeting was a success, bringing together over 60 delegations from around the world, demonstrating both solidarity and concrete support. Joining forces, we demonstrated the essential role of collective action in addressing the complex challenges facing the Palestinian Authority. Our message was clear. Mr. Prime Minister, you are not alone in this endeavour. We recognise the progress achieved on key reforms under exceptional circumstances. We support your commitment to the reform agenda, in particular on fiscal, economic and governance reforms. The social protection and education reforms remain crucial. More work remains to be done in these areas. It is essential that we remain firmly committed to this path with determination and in full transparency. Together with the Member States, the European Union is also supporting measures against corruption as well as for private sector development and the provision of basic services in energy, water and digitalisation. I would like to say a word on how the EU delivers our support. This is important because there were some questions. We channel our financial contributions to the Palestinian Authority through the PEGASE mechanism to support essential expenditures, including salaries of public workers like teachers and healthcare staff, and pensions for civil servants. PEGASE is a secure, reliable and well-tested instrument, supported by a rigorous control, verification mechanism and stringent safeguards. Today, we had an important moment to showcase and support this system. I am pleased to announce that today, together with Germany, as you witnessed earlier, Luxembourg, Slovenia and Spain, we signed more than 82 million of new contribution agreements in additional finance support from our member states channeled through PEGASE. We wanted to illustrate this today. The total amount pledged this year is of more than 88 million euros, including earlier contributions from Finland, Ireland, Italy and Spain. This mechanism remains open to all partners wishing to join. As said, our EU support is substantial, but we need further international support to stabilise the Palestinian fiscal situation. I commend the recent emergency support initiatives and additional contributions from Member States and reiterate our call to all donors to step up. Maybe this press conference will help. Israel has, of course, a significant role to play in this. I believe they also want to see a reformed Palestine Authority. We will continue to engage with them and urge for a release of the tax revenues along with the renewal of corresponding banking relationships. This was said by all the participants today by now. Tax revenues from Israel and renewal of corresponding banking relationships. Let me now say a word on Gaza. It deserves more than a word. Any credible recovery and future reconstruction efforts must be Palestinian-owned. The ceasefire is holding, but remains fragile, and urgent humanitarian aid still needs to reach those in need. We welcome the US-led UN Security Council resolution on the Gaza peace plan as a major step in advancing peace. The resolution also mentions the need for reformed Palestinian Authority, and the Palestine Donor Group contributes to this goal. I reiterate that our broader objective remains a two-state solution. Together with efforts led by the United States, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the wider international community, we can make this vision a lasting reality. The European Union is ready to engage also in the next phase on further reforms, humanitarian aid, and recovery, and as a part of Team Europe, alongside our member states and key regional and international partners. Our efforts are focused on ensuring that recovery and reconstruction fully respect international law, with Palestinian participation in governance across all territories. In these extremely difficult times, we must keep hope alive. The vision of peace and security in the Middle East remains essential. There won't be any prosperity in the Mediterranean, which is my region, without peace and stability in the Middle East. Today, we demonstrated that this commitment is alive. And I urge or I invite all of you to continue our joint forces for a future where Israelis and Palestinians can live side by side in peace and security. This is for the
Thank you, Madam Commissioner, for this presentation and for the convening of this conference and this meeting. Very important one, I think, came at a very critical moment of our history and the history of our region. But clearly today showed broad and firm support for Palestinian fiscal stability, to Palestinian reform delivery, and also to Gaza's recovery under a unified, legitimate Palestinian government. We were clear today, as we have always been, that Gaza and the West Bank are one political and geographical unit, inseparable parts of the state of Palestine. Reunifying the two under one legitimate government, one law, and one administration is not a slogan. It's the only workable path to stability, to accountable governance, and to credible reconstruction effort. The rights of the Palestinian people, including the right of self-determination and statehood, remain the foundation for peace. The two-state solution is the only viable path to lasting security and stability for all peoples in this region. It's not an abstract concept. It's the only workable end to this conflict, and it must be defended and advanced. Today, we presented progress on our national reform agenda that's implemented, not promised, implemented, and that is recognized by our partners as ahead of schedule, despite the difficult environment. Social protection reform is operational. Tax and VAT reforms are underway. Financial management is being digitized. Governance reform, including institutional mergers and merit-based appointments, are moving forward. And the education modernization program is already in implementation. This progress is being delivered alongside daily fiscal pressure and direct Israeli policies aimed at weakening the Palestinian Authority and its ability to function and provide our people with the necessary services. But let me be very clear here. No government can sustain reforms if it is denied its own revenues. The current fiscal crisis is politically motivated. Israel's withholding of Palestinian clearance revenues threatens salaries, service continuity, and stability in both Gaza and in the West Bank. We value the strong partnership with the European Union and contributing member states, but we need predictable, front-loaded funding and actions to protect corresponding banking lines and shekel liquidity ceilings. Regarding Gaza, I think we all agreed in meetings today that Gaza's recovery must be real, sequenced, and Palestinian-led. We have a unified framework for this. We have already undertaken the interim damage assessment with help from our partners, the World Bank, the EU, and the United Nations. The Arab plan that was endorsed by the Arab Summit and the United Nations also there, ready. We have now developed a detailed implementation plan for Gaza reconstruction made up of 56 different programs ready to go. And we have already established an institutional arrangement for the implementation of this reconstruction plan through establishing a Gaza reconstruction unit at the Ministry of Planning, and we continue to scale it up to an independent Gaza reconstruction agency when the time allows. We are a people who have carried unbearable loss, yet we continue to build. We ask for nothing more than the chance to stand on our own feet, to govern responsibly, and to give our children a future free of fear. Our commitment is clear. We will govern, we will reform, and we will lead Gaza's recovery. We will build the Palestinian state as a part of the region, a peaceful region, as per the international law, and with the support of our partners and friends. What we need now is fiscal stability and collective effort that protects both peace and dignity for our people. Our goal is simple, that no child in Gaza or the West Bank grows up believing that devastation is normal. They deserve to grow in believing in a better future for them and their families in the future. So thank you again, Commissioner, and for your continuing support, your hard work. Your team has been also a wonderful team, but also to the member countries who have signed today with us what was pledged 2 months ago to provide financial support of about $82 million. This was the pledge that was made 2 months ago and confirmed and signed today, so hopefully we'll be able to benefit from this in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Prime Minister. So now we'll move to your questions. We'll try, I see lots of questions, we'll try to accommodate. I will ask you to come to the front, there are some mics, and to speak in the microphone. Before you start the question, introduce yourself and the media you work for, and also to whom your question is addressed to. And now we'll start with Lily here in the front.
Thank you very much. I'm Lily Bayer from Reuters. I have a question for each of you. First off, Mr. Prime Minister, the Palestinian Authority often says that it's committed to institutional reforms. Could you outline the specific key reforms that you are committing to and provide us some concrete examples of the measures that have been taken so far? And then, Madam Commissioner, Israeli and some U.S. officials have asserted that payments are still being made to families of Palestinians killed or jailed by Israel, dubbed by critics pay to slay. Have you discussed this issue during your meeting today, and did you receive any concrete assurances? Many thanks.
Okay, I'll start with the question about reforms. As we have said repeatedly, we have developed a matrix of reform from the beginning of our government. We have shared this reform agenda with our partners, including the EU, with the World Bank and others, and we have put this to be implemented over 2.5 years, so there's a specific time schedule for this, and we have identified 4 major themes, 4 major pillars for these reforms. One has to do with governance, and second to do with judiciary, and third to do with business environment, and the fourth pillar has to do with provision of basic services. These are the four major pillars, but under these four pillars, we have identified 53 actionable items, and we put a date on every one of them to be delivered. We have reported this morning to the meeting that about 50 out of the 53 items, 23 has been completed, and therefore we have made actually good progress in implementing our reform program. We continue to work on this, and we hope that we'll be able to complete this agenda as scheduled, maybe ahead of schedule, and therefore we're very pleased to say that these reforms have already made an impact on our, for example, domestic revenues, an improvement of reducing expenditures, our limits on budget, our limits on hiring people, our steps in terms of preventing financial leakages, including in terms of customs and taxes not collected before, have already contributed to our domestic revenues. The biggest challenge remains to be the occupation, Israeli occupation, and its actions against our government, undermining our ability to undertake these reforms, but also to launch major economic development programs that we are working on along with partners, including the EU, the World Bank, and other Arab partners.
On your question, it's not coincidence that do I need something? It's okay. It was not coincidence that I was trying in my introductory speech to explain what is PEGASE mechanism. It was with the intent. So all our support to the Palestinian Authority is linked to the efforts to pursue reform agenda, including the implementation of a new social protection law, because this was your question. So its mechanism on cash payments should be based exclusively on need and vulnerability criteria. It's not to prisoners and their families. We can confirm that not a single euro of European money has been spent on these contested payments. EU payments are conducted once again through PEGASE mechanism with strict ex-ante and ex-post controls. So this is what I can say on this.
Thank you. We'll take a question from the gentleman here.
مصعب جابر صحفي فلسطيني من وكالة صدى نيوز. احنا موجودين هنا مع زملاء الصحفيين بدعوة من الاتحاد الأوروبي واستضافة منهم. أود أن أسألك المفوضة الاتحاد الأوروبي عن الإجراءات الإسرائيلية. أنتم تدعمون حل الدولتين بشكل مستمر وتقولون أنكم ستذهبون إلى أو تحافظون على حل الدولتين، ولكن الإجراءات الإسرائيلية بخصم أموال المقاصة أو بحجب أموال المقاصة بشكل كامل وما تقوم به إسرائيل من إجراءات عسكرية بالضفة الغربية وقطاع غزة يحول دون الوصول إلى حل الدولتين. كيف ستقومون بالحفاظ على هذا الأمر، على حل الدولتين، وكيف سنذهب إلى حل الدولتين في ظل الإجراءات الإسرائيلية التي تقوم بها؟ سؤالي للدكتور محمد مصطفى رئيس الوزراء، هل هناك موعد محدد للانتهاء من الإصلاحات الحكومية التي يطالب بها الاتحاد الأوروبي والمجتمع الدولي، وهل هي مربوطة فعلا كما يقال في الدعم المالي للسلطة الفلسطينية؟ يعني هل الحجب المالي من الدول العربية بالذات وبعض الدول الأوروبية عن الحكومة والسلطة الفلسطينية هل هو مرتبط في موضوع الإصلاحات فعلا أم في أمور سياسية أخرى؟ شكرا.
To reply to your question, I already mentioned there was no one in this Palestine Donor Group this afternoon, as well as this morning in Foreign Affairs Council meeting, who didn't mention these tax revenues which were withheld by Israel. So what we are doing, we are really putting pressure on Israel in all our diplomatic energy, all our political capital is being invested in trying to push Israel to release these revenues. And this is one of the very important steps because we know it's now amounting to 3 to 4 billion euro, which is a big amount of money and which is indispensable for the for the solid and stable Palestinian Authority.
بالنسبة للسؤال الأخ مصعب، بالنسبة للإجراءات الإصلاحية التي تبنتها الحكومة، كما ذكرت سابقا، احنا في بداية إنشاء هذه الحكومة طورنا برنامج إصلاحي خاص بنا، وقمنا باستعراضه وعرضه على الشركاء العرب والدوليين من أجل إثبات بأن السلطة الفلسطينية جادة ليس فقط للتناغم مع طلبات المانحين، ولكن أيضا من أجل الاستجابة لرغبات مواطنين الفلسطينيين الذين يريدون أيضا أن يروا في بلادهم بلاد مزدهرة ومتقدمة، ويروا في أن الحكومة تقدم خدمات متقدمة، وأن هناك في شفافية وحسن حوكمة في إدارة الأمور، وهذه قضايا مهمة جدا بالنسبة لنا كشعب فلسطيني، وبالتالي قررنا منذ البداية أن تكون على رأس أولوياتنا في هذه الحكومة. عندما قمنا بعرض هذه الأفكار وجدت دعما واستحسانا كبيرا من كل الأطراف بصراحة، العربية والدولية والمؤسسات المالية الدولية، ولذلك جزء منهم قرر أن يقدم دعم مالي، طبعا جزء منهم غير مشروط بصراحة، خاصة الدول العربية ما حطت أي شروط على الدعم المالي، لكن ولا البنك الدولي. الاتحاد الأوروبي كان في تزامن، خلينا نسميه تزامن، ما بين تنفيذ برنامج الإصلاح اللي احنا قدمناه مع تقديم دعم مالي من أجل تحفيز الاستمرار في تنفيذ هذا البرنامج. وإحنا الحمد لله زي ما حكينا مستمرين في تنفيذ هذا البرنامج وبنجاح معقول. المدة الزمنية اللي حطيناها لهذا البرنامج حوالي 2.5 سنين، مر عليها أكثر من سنة. نتوقع أنه مع نهاية السنة القادمة يكون الجزء الأكبر من هذا البرنامج يكون تم تنفيذه. طبعا هنا لابد من الإشارة أنه احنا نفرق بين إصلاحات منطقية وعقلانية وضرورية وما بين أشياء تعجيزية يريد البعض أن يفرضها ويحطها كشروط لقضايا مهمة بالنسبة لنا، مثل موضوع غزة أو حكم غزة أو موضوع قيام الدولة الفلسطينية أو شيء من هذا النوع. احنا القضايا الوطنية لا نفرط فيها، والمبادئ الوطنية ما لها أي علاقة بالدعم المالي. الدعم المالي أعتقد ناتج عن قناعات بأنه الدول مثل الاتحاد الأوروبي تريد أن ترى السلطة الوطنية مستمرة وقوية، لأنها تؤمن بأن حل الدولتين ضروري، وأن السلطة الوطنية الفلسطينية وجودها واستمرارها ضروري من أجل نجاح حل الدولتين. فبالتالي احنا نرى أنه هذا البرنامج إن شاء الله سيؤثر إيجابا على أدائنا، على حوكمتنا، على مؤسساتنا، وعلى شعبنا، وعلى مواطنينا، وبالتالي إن شاء الله بالطريق كمان يكون أيضا مصدر لزيادة الثقة والدعم من المؤسسات الدولية. فإحنا مستمرين في هذا نتيجة قناعاتنا، ونعتقد أنه الاتحاد الأوروبي أثبت خلال هذه الفترة بأنه شريك جدي بصراحة في هذا الوقت الصعب، لأنه كما تعلمون في غياب أموالنا التي تنهبها إسرائيل وتحتجزها لفترات طويلة، لولا الدعم الأوروبي والبنك الدولي وبعض الدول العربية كان وضعنا حيكون في غاية السوء. فنحن لذلك باسم الجميع نقدم الشكر للاتحاد الأوروبي، ونعتبرهم شركاء جديين، شركاء في السياسة وشركاء في الإصلاح وشركاء في التنمية، وبالتالي إن شاء الله أنه هذه العلاقة تتوثق. وأعتقد اللي صار اليوم في برنامج الدونر جروب، بالستاين دونر جروب، هو دليل حرص أوروبا، وهو مبادرة أوروبية، وأنا بشكر الكوميشنر على مبادرتها، مبادرة من الاتحاد الأوروبي أنه يريدوا أن يثبتوا للجميع، وخاصة في هذا الوقت الصعب، أنهم مع فلسطين ويريدوا أن يدعموا الشعب الفلسطيني، يريدوا السلطة الفلسطينية أن تصمد في ظل أو ضد الإجراءات الإسرائيلية الصعبة والقاسية والمؤلمة، ويريد أيضا أن السلطة الفلسطينية أن تقود عملية إعادة توحيد غزة والضفة الغربية، وتقوم بما يجب نحو أهلنا في غزة في اتجاه موضوع إعادة الإعمار، لأنه هذا أيضا موضوع وطني في غاية الأهمية.
Good evening, Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Thank you very much. To Commissioner Šuica, you said that this instrument is open to other partners, but did you receive any pledges, even in an informal way, from other countries outside Europe? And to you both, do you consider that Israel should in some way contribute to this mechanism or in some other way contribute to the recovery of Gaza and Palestine in general? Thank you.
I cannot precisely reply to your question, but if you look at the attendance of this conference, if you ask about countries which are not part of the European Union, but we also want member states to use this PEGASE mechanism in order to invest there. But we have Switzerland here, New Zealand, we have Norway, Turkey. There were many countries who are not members of the European Union, and they somehow pledged and they will pledge, so we are looking forward to their pledges and to use this mechanism, is really something which is solid, which is monitored, which is controlled, and which assures that money goes in the right hands.
And I thank you for the question. I think Israel is responsible for the problem with the money in terms of our own money being withheld in Israel, and that's why we need assistance. And if Israel followed the laws and the agreements signed and paid our money, we would not need the support of anyone, hopefully, at least not at this level. So Israel is to blame for the current financial situation, or of course the political situation, and we expect them to pay our money fully and quickly. That's one. But if your question is also related to contribution of Israel towards Gaza reconstruction, since they are responsible for destroying Gaza, I think you are absolutely right. I think this is a good question, and Israel should be held responsible for what happened, and they should contribute significantly, if not fully, for repairing the damage and contributing to the reconstruction effort.
Thank you. We have time for one more question here in the front.
فاطمة برقاوي من راديو بسمة في فلسطين، برضه هون بزيارة مع الصحفيين الفلسطينيين مع الاتحاد الأوروبي. سؤالي لك دكتور محمد، في ظل الصراع الدولي على إدارة ملف غزة، قديش عم بتشوفوا هلأ قدرة الحكومة الفلسطينية على استعادة دورها القيادي على القطاع، وفي تصور واضح قدام المانحين بآليات تمكين مؤسسات الدولة الفلسطينية هناك، وقديش ممكن الخطة الواقعية اللي تقدمها الحكومة للمانحين لضمان أن المساعدات تتحول من إغاثة مؤقتة لإعادة إعمار فعلية وقابلة للتنفيذ؟ قديش السلطة ممكن تضمن دخول المساعدات للناس بشكل مباشر وآمن؟ سؤالي لك سيدتي كمان، إسرائيل عم تمنع دخول مواد أساسية لغزة بحجة الاستخدام المزدوج، قديش في ممكن يكون ضغط من الاتحاد الأوروبي باتجاه هذا الموضوع؟ شكرا.
If I may say a word, this is exactly why we are investing in the Palestinian Authority, because we want to empower Palestinian Authority to make it stronger, to be able to take over all these services, which are also not only West Bank but also in Gaza. And this is our ultimate goal, of course, but we can do it. We cannot do it alone, not only European Union. We can, of course, do it together with the Palestinian Authority, but also with international partners, as I said, with the United States, with the regional partners and the international community. This is the only way how we can do it and how we can make a Palestinian Authority to be a real strong partner, because they are the only serious interlocutor on the ground. And this is how we look at the future of the state of Palestine.
شكرا على سؤالك. واحنا كما حكينا سابقا بالنسبة لنا موضوع غزة وإعادة توحيد غزة مع الضفة وإعادة إعمار غزة أولوية وطنية لابد منها مهما كانت الظروف صعبة. احنا سنعمل باستمرار من أجل أنه تسير الأمور بالاتجاه الصحيح. ولحسن الحظ أنه أكاد أقول أنه الأغلبية العظمى من العالم يريد ذلك، يمكن إسرائيل استثناء، لكن الاتحاد الأوروبي ودوله كما تم التأكيد عليه اليوم على سبيل المثال، بس كمان في مناسبات أخرى فعلا يريدوا أن يروا الأمور تسير بهذا الاتجاه، يريدوا أن يروا أن السلطة الفلسطينية والحكومة الفلسطينية تكون مسؤولة عن ليس فقط في الضفة الغربية وإنما أيضا في قطاع غزة، يريدوا أنه موضوع إعادة الأعمار يكون بقيادة فلسطينية وبناء على خطة فلسطينية، وبالتالي هم سيقدموا أيضا الدعم سواء على مستوى الحوكمة المؤسسات بناء المؤسسات أو على مستوى الأمني من خلال ما ذكرته المفوضة بخصوص مشاركة الاتحاد الأوروبي من خلال بعثة الإيوبام على معبر رفح أو التدريب الشرطة الفلسطينية لاحقا. فهم يحاولوا بكل الوسائل الممكنة الصحيح من أجل أن يمكنوا الحكومة الفلسطينية والسلطة الفلسطينية أن تتولى مسؤولياتها، وذكروا ذلك في كل مناسبة بما في ذلك في الأمم المتحدة وفي اجتماعاتهم صباح هذا اليوم، لأنه كان في اجتماع لوزراء خارجية الاتحاد الأوروبي وكلهم بدون استثناء أعلنوا أنه هذا هو موقفهم. فإحنا نحيي هذا الموقف ونقدر هذا الموقف، ونقول بأنه الفترة التي تحدث عنها قرار مجلس الأمن هي فترة انتقالية قد يكون فيها فائدة من أجل إنهاء الحرب التي لم تنتهي حقيقة، لأن الاحتلال موجود في قطاع غزة لغاية الآن، وبالتالي سيكون من الصعب أنه ندير الأمور بشكل كامل في قطاع غزة. من الصعب جدا أيضا أن نقوم بالكثير في ضوء استمرار إغلاق المعابر الإسرائيلية، وكما ذكرت هناك قيود شديدة من الجانب الإسرائيلي على إدخال المواد، حتى المواد العادية مثل الخيم المطلوبة الآن لا توفر مسكن مؤقت في ظل أن الشتاء بدأ، وبيعتبروا الأعمدة اللي بتوقف عليها الخيام بيعتبروها دول يوز ايتمز، وهذا شيء مؤسف، والكل العالم بيضحك على هذا الكلام وبيعتقد انه هي حجج، بس الكل منيح انه العالم بده يشوف اللي احنا كنا بنشوفه من سنوات طويلة، لانه موضوع الدول يوز مش جديد، طول عمرهم بيستخدموه ضدنا وبيمنعوا تدخل اشياء كثيرة في بلادنا. لكن احنا سنستمر ان شاء الله بالعمل مع شركائنا من اجل تغيير هذا الوضع، لانه اهل غزة يستحقون الحياة الكريمة، تعرضوا للكثير من الظلم، وان شاء الله انه بجهود الجميع بما في اصدقائنا في اوروبا والمؤسسات الدولية والدول الاخرى العربية والاسلامية ان نقوم بواجبنا بشكل محترم ومناسب نحو أهلنا في قطاع غزة، وإن شاء الله أنه المؤسسات الدولية والدول الكبرى تضغط على الجانب الإسرائيلي لتغيير هذه السياسات وتدفع باتجاه فتح كل المعابر وبشكل سريع، وإدخال البيوت الجاهزة، ليس فقط الخيام، البيوت الجاهزة ومواد البناء وكل ما يتطلب إعادة الأعمار من مواد ومعدات.
Thank you, everyone. We'll conclude this press conference now. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.